Hi boys and girls, it's Mr. Wasemann, and today we are once again in our geography skills section of our Pearson, My World, Indiana History, Social Studies text. We're on pages IN 34 and IN 35, and we're starting on a page that talks about elevation maps. Now this is again a type of physical map. If you recall, maps can tell us different pieces of information about a place. In this map, it tells us how high the land is. So elevation is the height above sea level. Now, with the exception of Lake Michigan, we are a landlocked state, meaning that we're not near an ocean. So when we talk about sea level, we're talking about relative to how level the land is where it meets a body of water, like, say, the Atlantic Ocean. So in the bottom right-hand corner of your map, you see this key. Now this key shows us that the map makers are using color as a text feature. It's the color of the portion of the state determines the elevation. So if you notice right here, there's a spectrum going from green through yellow to kind of orange. And the closer you get to that orange, the higher the elevation is in our state. And generally speaking, our state is sloped from the northeast corner, right up here, slopes downward closer to sea level when we get to the southern and western portion. And you're going to notice that most of the rivers that are in Indiana follow that flow too. So for example, the White River starts up here near Hoosier Hill, along the Ohio border, and then it slowly meanders or winds its way down towards the bottom of the state right here. Okay, the Ohio River that makes up our southern border kind of does the same thing. It just kind of flows in a south and west direction. Okay, so maps can tell us pieces of information like elevation. This map is just dedicated to that idea, so there's no cities listed or any kind of highways or any kind of political or man-made structures marked here. The other thing you're going to notice is that along these this map, you're going to see that in bold and capital print, it shows that our state is broken up into three regions: the northern lake and moraine region, the Till Plains, and then the southern hills and lowland. This will become important a little bit later on as we read. You're also going to notice up here that you see a compass rose and map scale. These are text features for a map that will always be present. Now the location might be different. So for example, they put the compass rose right up here in the left-hand side towards the top because it's out of the way of all the information you see here on the elevation map. Now if you go to the next page, you're going to see that page 35 shows us a completely different type of map. Now this is more of a political map, which is going to show you destinations within an area. Okay? A city map shows the streets of a city. It might also show points of interest in natural features. To help locate places more easily, this city map has a grid. A grid is a system of lines that cross each other, forming a pattern of squares. Now, you're probably familiar with graph paper, where it's basically lines that intersect at 90-degree angles. So again, if you look right here, we've got these green grid lines that help make up boxes. So we have columns that go up and down, and we have rows that go side to side. So right here in this box, this would be labeled A1. Okay, so the row is A, the column is 1. Now you could say 1A in reverse, it doesn't really matter. But for our purposes, we're going to start with the letter. Okay? So you can see Indianapolis, the city, is more or less within the borders of this interstate, 465. It's a giant loop that goes around the majority of our city. Okay? And within it, you see that there are certain attractions. Now, if I was new to Indianapolis, or if I didn't travel to downtown very often, I might want to know where things are in relationship to each other. So, for example, if I want to take my kids to the Children's Museum, I would first have to locate it on the map. Now, this handy word balloon points it out exactly. So now what I'd have to do is figure out where Children's Museum is relative to other things in the state. So I would use this map grid. Okay, so I go across the row. It's right at the top edge of the C row, and then it's within that column that's numbered 2. Okay, now the letters and numbers are arbitrary based on the size and scale of this map. If it was showing us more of the state, they might assign different letters and numbers, and the Children's Museum's location might show as a different coordinate. But up here, you can see that the Children's Museum of Indianapolis would be found within C2 of this particular grid. Okay? So that is how you would go about finding a location on a map using a grid. Okay? So your job today is to read the text to yourself, both on pages 34 and 35, and you are to complete the embedded tasks within both pages. So number 11, identify the elevation range of the Till Plains. How tall is Indiana's highest point? Number 11 has one number to it, but you're going to notice it's got a command that ends in a period, and then a question that ends in a question mark. So that actually needs you to do two things using the 2 lines that are provided right here. And then on number 12, on the next page, you have to identify where the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is located relative to the grid system on this map. So you would give the coordinates. If you have any questions about this activity, or if you need help, please feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, we will talk again soon. Thanks, friends.